Besting.
Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades. Most Tuesdays, what a run that the athletic department continues to be on. The showcase on Sunday, the one against Villanova, suffocating. Dick Vitale presented a jersey by Mack Rhoades, in fact, who joins us on Sick and 365 Radio. Whose idea was that, and did you have any idea how emotional Dickie V might be?
Yeah, so that's an idea that we came up with probably, a month, maybe even 2 months ago, and Scott and I talked about it and wanted to make sure that we presented him with something, and knowing it was his first trip to Waco, wanted to make sure that it was special. And I think we all know, those that follow Dickie V, that he's an emotional person, but I don't know that any of us, I certainly didn't anticipate that. And again, I think it was a special moment for our fans, and really just want to thank our fans for the way they embraced him, and the standing ovation, and the way they made him feel welcomed and loved. And his wife Lorraine, she's a special lady as well. And a quick story, Amy and I were in New York City probably 3 years ago, maybe 4, certainly before COVID, and we were eating dinner, and we happened to be seated right next to Lorraine and him, and they couldn't have been nicer, better folks, and just appreciated the conversation. So it was a special day because he was there, and because of what he's going through, and again, just really grateful to our fans and to our staff for the way they made them both feel.
Could you find a way scientifically to bottle the collective optimism of Dickie V and Scott Drew in the same room and sell it for humanity?
If there was a way that you could actually, bottle that and sell that, you'd probably have more money than Bill Gates. It's their enthusiasm, their zest for life, their zest for people is amazing, and it really is. I think it's a true gift from God.
We had was it Jerome Tang yesterday on the show, and I asked him about the way that the culture of joy has kind of taken over not only the basketball program on the men's side, but really it seems like the entire athletic department, Mack. And I asked him about that, and he actually gave credit to you and said that all kind of stems from you. Can you just kind of describe the culture of joy, what you've seen created over the last year plus, how men's basketball really seemed to kind of pick up that torch and run with it, and how others have followed suit, and what that's meant to your athletic department?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, and that's certainly nice of Coach Tang. But this is a we team and not an I team, and I think it's been just collective by all of us. And we've had very intentional conversations dating years back about just who we are and what we're about, what is our why, what is our purpose. If we're going to do this and do it right and be special in this space, meaning college athletics, it's got to be so much further beyond the wins and losses, who's getting drafted, who's not getting drafted, all of those things. And we've had a staff, the men's basketball staff, and really now all of our sports programs that have bought in, and it's really, really cool to see. And, we're cautious. We're cautious because, I guess we never want to take this particular moment that we're in for granted. And we also need to be able to remain humble, and we need to, continue to evolve and in remaining humble, find ways to still be better, to still get better. You guys know, I'm a broken record when I say that Baylor's best days are still ahead, and I truly believe that. I really do believe that, and that's going to be the journey and that we continue to be on. But it's how you go about that journey, the people you do it with, and your why and your purpose. And right now, we just have an entire athletic department of really special people that have bought in, that have embraced this culture of joy and this idea of just impacting lives.
Tomorrow, National Signing Day for Dave Aranda and his staff, and of course college programs all throughout the country as well. Your thoughts with the momentum that he's built with the Big 12 championship, the appearance in the Sugar Bowl. What do you hear as you're walking around the hallways? I know you can't get into specifics as far as commitments, but it's been a pretty nice little run, and obviously they might maybe add another one or two pieces. But what do you hear as far as around the hallways?
Yeah, so I'm optimistic, and I think it was it would have been yesterday. So Monday morning, Coach Aranda and myself and Marcus and compliance team, right, sat down and went through every individual that we're gonna send a NLI, National Letter of Intent to, and so I feel good about the young men that are going to decide to, and their families that are going to decide to join our family. And Coach Aranda, as you know, is extremely active in the recruiting process. I think the staff has done a terrific job. I think we've weathered a couple little storms because of staff that left, but I think we're in a really, really good place. I am intentional about keeping up on recruiting. I know who we're recruiting. I know who's verbal. Who's on the fence. All of those things. But I expect it to be a really, really positive day for our football program tomorrow. And again, just really, really appreciate Coach Aranda and the staff because they work extremely hard at it.
Mack, we're one season, not even a full year, but this is the first recruiting cycle where name, image, and likeness will be a legitimate factor in that people can know maybe exactly what they're getting when they go to places. We've seen alumni at schools like Miami, Texas, BYU, and now SMU set up funds or whatever to create name, image, and likeness opportunities. As an AD, how do you grapple with that in the modern construct of knowing that you can't really do anything about it? You just kind of have to hope that your alumni, so that you can stay competitive, might do something similar.
Yeah, so I mean, we're certainly not sitting on our hands, and we certainly monitor, frequently, every day, meaning frequently, what's going on in the name, image, and likeness space, and not wanting to get caught off guard, and certainly not wanting to fall behind when we think about competitive advantage, competitive disadvantage. Right now, where we are as an athletic department, we haven't lost recruit because of the name, image, and likeness. We haven't lost a lineman because they can go to UT and get $50,000. But that doesn't mean that we're stagnant and we're not evolving. I think for us it's finding that balance, threading that needle where we don't compromise our own beliefs on name, image, and likeness and its placement within the athletic department, within the Baylor brand, how it impacts team chemistry. Those are all things that we weigh and talk about and think about. And I think, there's a balance to where we can be aggressive and still hold on to those things that we think are extremely important. And that's not to say, others aren't doing the same. So I don't, I'm certainly not meaning to say that about anybody. I'm just, this is about Baylor and where we are. So we're in a good place, but we know that this can evolve, it can change, and we know we may have to change and move in a different direction, or pivot to the left or pivot to the right. And we'll be, rest assured, we'll be ready to do that. And we are ready to do that. So right now in a good place, but continuing to be in an athletic stance and ready to go in any direction we need to go.
Mack, do you foresee any type of legislation on the horizon, or everybody being on the same page, or is this just going to kind of be Wild West like it is right now for the foreseeable future, in your opinion?
Yeah, Craig, it's another really good question. Craig, you're like on a roll. You've asked good questions today. I think, yes, the answer is I do foresee federal legislation, but I think we need to get through this next cycle of elections, and then I do think, as we get past that, I think there's probably more foreseeable to have federal legislation that puts every state, right, preempts every state, puts those states that don't have any name, image, and likeness law, so that we're all on the same page. And right now, the NCAA is taking a look at some different name, image, and likeness, quote unquote, programs. And are they something that we should allow? Are they something that violate the intent? And so there's some vetting and noodling going on, and I think that's going to continue to happen as well.
Mack, your football coach, as I mentioned, won a conference championship, and a lot of the openings around the country, you've discussed this with us about his name popping up, and even you mentioned a conversation with a reporter last week. What are the plans with him? He's under contract, but anything in particular that you're working on with Dave Aranda and his staff going forward?
Yeah, so, and again, I certainly appreciate the question, but, we're enhancing his contract, and we're at a point in place where we've verbally agreed to everything, and now it's a matter, I guess, paperwork and approvals and all of those things that you have to do. But we've been in a good place with Coach, for weeks, months. Again, as I've stated before, he has told me that this is where he wants to be, and this is where he's a fit, and this is where his family wants to be. And so I've trusted that. I think if you know Coach Aranda, I would take Coach's word over any contract that I ever had to sign with him, and I think he certainly trusts me. So we're in a good place. Just got to get through, just some of the paperwork pieces, and then, we're in the process of doing all we can to retain a really, really talented staff. I think, when you think about the odds, can you keep everybody? Will you keep everyone? I don't know that that's the case, but we'll try. And he's put together again a talented staff, but we've worked through a lot of it with most of the staff members, and still in process.
Mack, you have a new soccer coach, Michelle Leonard, introduced this week. Your thoughts on her and the hire and what that means for soccer program moving forward, and just all that, her joining the fold.
Yeah, and again, grateful to Coach Jobson and the foundation that he laid, and certainly our current student athletes. Just a great group of young women, and so Coach Leonard, inherits a program on solid footing, and certainly love her passion. She is a competitor, and really love that about her. She's got some fieriness in her, and she's really good, tactically, scheme-wise. I think she's really good in terms of recruiting and works really, really hard at it. And certainly, obviously, because of her time at DBU, knows Texas very, very well. And certainly will look to get into California as well and in some other areas. We believe that Baylor is a program that you can recruit nationally. And she's got great passion for young people and challenging them and pushing them and molding them to be great in everything. And so that culture of joy, that culture of overachievement, we certainly think that she's a perfect fit and will do a great job here. So couldn't be more excited about Coach joining our family.
All right. So you mentioned earlier that you looked at all the compliance of the NLI. Did you now have to remember that's NLI and it's not NIL? And can you get confused with that?
Oh, yes, you can. So I've probably misused those quite frequently. So and staff has to remind me. But Wednesday, tomorrow, is all about NLI, and then I'm certain there will be, though, an NIL conversation throughout the day, some point in time tomorrow as well. So we'll try to keep those two straight.
Mack, your men's basketball program, that big win over Villanova, being number one in the country, third season in a row where they've reached a number one ranking. The atmosphere at the game, a lot of people still talking about that, and just the defensive, dominance. So your thoughts on this young batch of players that's come in now and seemingly hasn't really missed a beat, and getting a big win over obviously a very well-respected program and some national champs in Villanova.
Yeah, I thought, again, the environment was incredible, as good of an environment that I would think in the entire country. So again, really special thanks to our fans. And, that first half defensively, I don't know. I try not to be biased, but I'm not sure in my lifetime in terms of college basketball I've ever seen a better half defensively. I almost think that we played so hard on that end of the floor that it did, impact us a little bit negatively on the offensive side. But what an unbelievable effort. Last year you had an on-ball defender like Davion Mitchell that I thought was the best in the country. I don't know that we have anybody at that level, although we've got a couple that are really, really good. But collectively as a team, and I think what stands out, in terms of mismatches, there really aren't anyone. We have big guys that can guard out on the perimeter, and we've got some toughness about us. And again, I just think that speaks to the culture. And so, the Jared Butlers, the Davion Mitchells, the Maceo Teagues, the Mark Vitals, what they built and showing the model of our younger folks, the underclassmen, this is how you do it. And of course, all of that guided by Scott and the staff. And so now you bring in a group of young, talented individuals and they buy in right away and you have a chance to, stay competitive and as you mentioned, now all of a sudden we're ranked number one, and we all know that, it's at the end of the year that we want to be ranked number one, but, to achieve that during the season, that is special. That means you're doing some things right and your team's competing at a really high level. So, sorry for the long answer.
No. Good. Mack, what I came really impressed with the other day was, and you really think back to some of the big wins that the team has had over the last couple of years, how the game plans are elitely executed but very simple in nature. With Villanova on defense, it was if they take a three, it's going to be contested all day long. And that's not anything that you have to really, hammer home as hard as it's not complex. There's not weaves and all these things going on. It's just They're not going to take uncontested threes, and that'll mess them up. And that's the beauty in Drew and the coaching staff is in their simplicity, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree. And, there's that saying that Coach Aranda says, do simple better. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like, you can use that phrase when you think about, describing, what we do defensively. And, I think this next game at Oregon is a really interesting and big challenge for us. And this is when you really think about maturity of team. And, last year we had a bunch of older guys. And so, you reach number one and you don't really worry about how they handle that and, them going on with their business, staying focused, not worried about being number one, but just being focused about getting better. And so, I know Scott and the staff know that about this team and are doing a great job with our younger players, but how to, our younger players respond and go play at, in a tough environment. And so I think it's a great test for our program this Saturday.
All right, you've enhanced the contract of your football coach, Dave Aranda. You're at a point and place where you've verbally agreed, and everything now is a matter of paperwork and approvals, and also in the process of retaining his staff as well. That we didn't want to let that slip by. You kind of like the question you've been having to answer from us for probably and others for a long time. How happy are you about that once it does actually get on paper? Although you said you know where it's going with him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'll be extremely happy for him and for Dion and and for our staff and those things are tedious and they're long and even when there's no hiccups, even when you're doing them with people that you really enjoy and respect, and so to be able to put that one to rest and to move on to the next thing will be good. And for our football program, I'm certainly excited about the future when you think about tomorrow and then you think about the football operations building and breaking ground before June of 2022. You think about our basketball programs and by the way, women's basketball ranked 5th and they got a big game December 19th in Connecticut at versus number 13 Michigan, but Nikki and that staff doing an unbelievable job. But getting the pavilion and the development center for that to break ground by June of 2022. So just a lot of exciting things and the thing that's a challenge when you have just a short amount of time. What do you talk about? And I could talk about equally excited all of our other sport programs because those head coaches of all of our sport programs are doing a phenomenal job, and I expect our spring sports to have a great season as well.
Mack, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Mack Rhoades, Baylor Director of Athletics, with us on Tuesdays on SICK on 365 Radio and 365 Sports. It was about 3 weeks ago, I believe. It was, Baylor had to finish up the year with Texas Tech. And the only thing that kept this from being earlier and official is the fact that they earned a spot in the Big 12 championship game. So that moved back what Mack just said another week. And then, of course, you lose a week on the road recruiting because you're playing for a championship and you have to hit the road and seal the deal with some of your commitments and also add to your group. And tomorrow they'll have National Signing Day. And Mack Rhoades, if you did not hear, again, they've agreed to a contract. It now just needs to be put on paper. And also he mentioned the staff as well. That doesn't mean that there may not be one or two on staff that still aren't looking at other opportunities or others are looking at them. But I know if you're a Baylor fan, if that is not something that you've been waiting for, I don't know what is.
Yeah, well, I mean, just wait for the first post that says, well, yeah, I mean, it's contracts don't mean anything. Like, there's going to be that guy, but, I mean, what more can you do? And I don't know. I refuse to believe it, quite frankly, because Twitter told me that Dave Aranda was going to be the head coach at Oregon. Twitter told me he was going to be the head coach at UCLA. Twitter told me he was going to be the head coach at Washington. Twitter told me he was going to be the head coach at LSU. Twitter told me he was going to be the head coach at Southern Cal. That's only 5 jobs. I know there was more than that, but there was some source for every single one of those, like guaranteeing
UCLA was never even open, by the way.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. But that didn't stop a Twitter account I can see in my head right now from proclaiming that Dave Aranda was bound for Los Angeles because he's from Southern California. So, yeah, I mean, he's got a good thing going. It'll be nice to see that contract get finalized and, see how the staff shakes out and all of that comes out in the wash. Because that's the other thing that's coming up, too, is like you not only have the turnover with the rosters just in terms of National Signing Day, but don't they have to kind of get the scholarship situation back in order now?
Yep.
I mean, they got to do that. Which that could have some ramifications. And, yeah, then there's the fallout from post-bowl announcements, whether it be transfers or NFL declarations or coaching, moves. Because there will be some coach after National Signing Day that, all right, guys, see ya. It's like, wait a second, you just told me to sign with Clemson or whatever. And, oh, yeah, but that, I'm gone now. Now that signing day's passed, I'm headed to Miami or something. Like, that's going to happen at least once or twice. But, yeah, it's busy news cycle, that's for sure.
All right, when we